Salutations everyone, this is Grazer giving you guys my recap and analysis of Shine 2016 on the Wii U side of things, where Zero emerged victorious once again, solidifying that #1 spot and being the #1 seed in future tourneys, because the man is Mr. Consistent, and he didn't drop a set in this game, winning handily over all of his opponents. ESAM getting that second place finish, the highest that we've seen him at a national. We haven't seen much of him for quite some time now, so it's great to see the best Pikachu player in the world come back to form, get a couple of upsets, and go up against Zero in grand finals. Then we have Dath, another surprise, third place, a Robin player. I told you guys to look out for him. He was going to be the next guy to come up and surprise people, and he definitely did, beating a ton of people, including 6WX and Larry Lurr. 6WX in fourth place. He beat Mewtwo King as well as Craftus. So showing some great stuff from him. We know that 6WX has been improving as a player the last few tournaments as well. And then we got Larry Lurr, another person we haven't seen much of lately, hasn't traveled as much and hasn't been getting very good results, or at least, coming through this far through winners. Also with fifth place, we got Mewtwo King, who got eliminated by 6WX and ESAM. And in seventh place, you got Mars with that Zero Suit, whom got eliminated by Larry Lurr, and then you got Craftus with that Sonic rounding out top 8. So let's start off with Larry Lurr versus Mars. Game 1, Larry made those combos work. Mars had trouble landing, Larry landing those immaculate up airs and taking game 1. Game 2, Mars counterpicks to Town and City for that low ceiling, and he made it work with those boost kicks. Larry was using side special a lot, getting heavily punished for it. Mars handily takes game 2. Game 3, Mars carries that momentum once again, giving Larry little opportunities to set up and punishing Fox's misses. Larry finally lands a back air to take the first stock, and well aware of the situation, he knows he needs to do something crazy real quick. He goes for the fair footstool combo, doesn't quite convert, but second time's the charm, and he gets that fair footstool to get that game 3 comeback. Game 4, Larry this time takes the early lead, and Mars brings it back, but Larry did a good job at avoiding the paralyzer. He's got that shine, of course, and played that fast Fox game that doesn't allow Zero Suit to do much off stage. Larry gets the jab up smash, and the game, set, match. Then we have Zero versus Dath. Now, we all knew that Dath has been poised to make some noise for some time now, and we got to see him on winner's side of top 8 here, going through Mars and Pools among others. Game 1, Zero gave Dath so much pressure at the ledge, making it a nightmare for him to come back to the stage. Fairs, bears, down tilts, bananas. Robin doesn't have an aerial to contest those options, doesn't have a safe recovery with Elwind. Zero fairs and potassium giveaways gave him a solid win. Zero knew exactly what Dath wants to go for, and Robin's defensive options just didn't have enough space to work with Zero's pressure game, and the fact that most of that match had Dath at the ledge doesn't help. Zero wins that set pretty solidly, no blowout, no 2 stocks, but Zero would constantly commit to the pressure game, and a few times Dath would catch him overcommitting, but that's how Zero should play that matchup. Robin needs space, and Diddy gets a lot up close. Then we have Mewtwo King versus ESAM. This was a tale of 2 sets in this match. Mewtwo King takes game 1 on the 2 stock real quick, has a big lead in game 2, and ESAM simply says, "How would you like 6 fairs in a row off stage?" M2K luckily has limit and makes it back, but those aerials kept Cloud off stage enough times that ESAM ran it back for game 2 for the win. And then in game 3, was such a back and forth, characters just throwing out all the attacks at each other, and ESAM called his homeboy Thor for a thunder kill to seal that win. So then we have losers quarters, Larry Lurr versus Dath. Now, with pretty much every time we see Dath, it's a matchup nobody is familiar with. Because if you haven't fought Dath before, you haven't faced a top Robin, because he's really the only one. Dath did a great job at gaining the space needed to set up with Arc Thunders and Arc Fires. He was hitting so many fairs for big damage with the L sword as well as the jabs, both variants, but mostly the fire finisher because he wanted to save the wind book for the recovery. Now, Dath got a lot of pressure at range to not allow Larry to go in, and he would jab the approach when not at range for a safe arc fire or an L Thunder. Now, Fox has the Shine to help against the projectiles, and he did get the protection and reverse projectiles back, and did get some things out of it, including an up smash out of a reflected Arc Thunder. But it was nonetheless effective. Now, when Fox can get in, he does a lot out of those dash attacks, and then start with the ledge game. Fox has the tools to keep Robin offstage, but when those roles were reversed, Dath did very well at keeping Larry offstage as well. Arc Fire intercepting those side Bs and catching those higher recoveries with the Fair. Dath did such a good job at dealing consistent damage. He gave Larry a lot of trouble maintaining stage control for extended periods of time, enabling him to get a chain of aerials going, or the grab game, which we know Robin gets so much off of, especially with that down throw up air kill confirm out of Arc Thunder, especially whether it's on it hits or it's on shield. And I think we can say that Fox has the advantage in this matchup with the presence of a reflector, the speed, and the fact that Robin isn't all that great at landing against a character that excels at keeping you in the air. Larry just couldn't get enough of those opportunities, and Dath finished his combos, red air dodges with L Thunder, and prevented Larry from keeping any momentum, even when Larry did get some, which didn't happen all that often. Dath moves on with the 3-1 victory. Then we have Mewtwo King versus 6WX in losers. So here we have a Cloud versus a Sonic. I think Sonic does pretty well in this matchup, and while Mewtwo King does have a 2-0 record on 6WX, he isn't afforded much room for mistakes, and 6WX has improved a lot since their last meeting, which bodes well for 6WX because M2K hasn't had many Sonics to fight. So as we all know, Mewtwo King, the king of getting rid of Limit as soon as possible, threw out quite a few Limit Blade Beams that only missed or would hit shield. Because of Sonic's speed and playstyle, it's really difficult for Cloud to kill. Not many opportunities until quite a bit after 100%. You need a hard read for cross slash or forward smash to land. Won't get many opportunities for back air chases near the ledge, so he's mainly net left with up air and nair to kill, which won't kill until much later on. Sonic has that back throw and spring, which make easy bake oven kills against the Cloud with no limit, which is what we saw. 6WX's movement was very good. He was weaving in and out a lot, making Cloud's down air approach not much of a factor. He also mixed up his approach so Mewtwo King couldn't simply just dash attack, which would out-prioritize Sonic's approaches, and that forced Mewtwo King to nair a lot on approach and for damage, which he did do and got a lot out of it, and mixed up those up airs in as well. Mewtwo King was bringing it back, and I felt if it went to game 5, it might have played in his favor, even with the counter pick, because I don't think it really shifts the favorability one way or another, outside of a few little recovery instances here in this matchup. But M2K dies early in game 4 because Cloud recovery, and dies at 30-something%. So on the last stock, last hit situation, he gambled twice, lost twice, gets bodied on the second attempt, and 6WX closes it out. So here we have ESAM in winners finals. Great to see ESAM back in top 8. You know, he used to be a fixture at this position, convincing everyone that Pikachu was a top 3 character, easily, or at the very least, top 5. Not so much anymore, either with ESAM's placings or people's opinions on Pikachu, but he's still undisputably the top Pikachu player and continued to show why. He's still in that now diminished camp of long-playing Wii U players whom haven't yet taken a set off of Zero, with the matchup being 6-0 for Zero before this tournament. ESAM had a great game 1, actually, putting all the right hitboxes in all the right places. He clearly practiced this matchup a lot and knew what Zero and Diddy wanted to do. Jab lock combos into up smash in both games 1 and 2, intercepting recoveries with such tight windows to convert. He couldn't complete things because that shit's hard to do consistently against Diddy, and the top Diddy at that. So he takes game 1, started trailing on game 2, brought it back to a stock lead, to which both players were very much dancing around each other waiting for something, testing the waters that simply weren't moving much, thunder jolts, bananas, etc. Zero then came back on the second stock, brought the lead back in his favor on percent, managed to close it out with a solid defensive options. Needs just a down tilt or a grab at that percent to close it out, and he gets it, surviving game 2. After game 2, I think ESAM should have sped things up after a slower game 2 to give Zero a different pace to keep up with, for going for more grabs because he wasn't doing anything. Diddy would just punish him out of shield, especially with those grabs and with bananas. So he needed to do something to throw Zero off his game, but Zero kept that banana in hand and didn't lose his balance. ESAM tried to be a little bit more aggressive in game 3. He looked for a few things, but Zero simply wasn't going to fall for simple tricks and didn't let ESAM to get anything going from there, taking winners 3-1. And then in losers semis, we have 6WX versus Dath. Dath showed everyone here exactly what good spacing looks like, projectile pressure, and how that translates to wins. With Sonic, we have a character with so many quick options, but Dath's just stayed out of range and threw out those fares. Once L-Sword was gone, he would throw out those arc fires so Sonic couldn't spin dash to him, allowing time for L-Sword to come back, continuing to stall the game by throwing the book at him, camping on platforms whilst charging Thunder. You didn't even see him attempt to use the bronze sword almost at all in this entire match because he was able to camp out that time with the projectiles and going onto the platforms. So on the counter pick, 6WX goes to Duck Hunt and just took it to him. Patient, yet didn't let Robin set anything up with the available space. Game 3, we saw the best kind of game you could ask for in this matchup, especially on the ledge, making one another one-up each other again and again. Now, while Robin can't do much on Sonic's shield, the projectile game did slow down 6WX. 6WX didn't drop anything off stage against Dath, however, and when it came to time to react to how he would return, throwing out more springs at him than the Springfield Olympics, challenging the L-Wind that has no hitbox above Robin, Dath makes a big comeback to force Game 5, following 6WX's movement, damaging with aerials, and throwing out those arc fires that force 6WX to go to the platforms to recover, to which Dath could then start an aerial game. So how does the character with the slowest run in the game keep up with the fastest character in the game? Projectiles, my man. When you have to deal with Arc Fire, L-Thunder, and L-Sword fares at the same time, it's only a matter of time before you connect with an option, allowing you to follow up accordingly, and with the magic precision of Dath, you win. Sonic may be rolling around at the speed of sound, but can you outrun L-Thunder and not get down-thrown into up air? Turns out the answer is no, and Dath wins 3-2. But what's faster than thunder? Lightning. ESAM is the one who ends Dath's magical run on his road to Grand Finals, but it wasn't easy on this Losers Finals that went the distance. When it comes to the projectile game, Pikachu's Thunder Jolt will collide with Arc Thunder and Arc Fire, not letting those hitboxes to go as far as Dath wants. And on the ledge, he could avoid Arc Fire with those quick attacks to ledge cancel, or just simply go past Robin, who can't catch up with him with that slow run of hers to reset the neutral. So Pikachu was also throwing out those jolts before going to the ledge, forcing Dath either to shield or elect not to make a move. So we saw some great conversions out of both players here. Pikachu's crouch helped him a little bit avoiding those projectiles, but Dath did make changes to continue to put on the pressure. Pikachu is pretty light and will die early, and Robin does get kill confirms at all percents against Pikachu. Also, Dath brought those mix-ups to the party with Tomahawk down smashes for added damage mix-ups. ESAM was able to put on a lot of damage, however, throughout the entirety of matches, and would put Robin off stage enough times that the L-Wind book would simply run out of power, and Dath couldn't recover with that book being spent. The Nair sends Dath at just enough offstage to force the up special at that angle, and to avoid Dare and Fair, or Falling Nair, or Thunder offstage. Just too many hitboxes, too many options that ESAM threw out him, he had to recover too many times, and the book would run out. ESAM needed to bring it back after being down 2-1, but made all the right calls and made it back to 0 in Grands. So, in Grand Finals, 0 versus ESAM, not much changed from the winner's side here to Grand Finals. ESAM did learn a new combo though. It was called Almost Getting a Kill to Side Taunt. Didn't really work out that well, but you know, he knows more about Pikachu than I do, so maybe I shouldn't doubt the man. On the other side, Zero's game was basically banana and not dying. Very effective. Diddy doesn't need Rage to kill Pikachu, but ESAM decided to give him max Rage, and Zero decided just not to give up that present. So after two stock losses, ESAMUS comes out. Unfortunately, this isn't Melee, but he did take a stock this time, so no 6-0 here for Zero, who does improve to 8-0 versus ESAM, and takes his second tournament in a row. Shine 2016. Back on top is Zero. Can he be stopped this time?